Hello everybody, welcome back to part 2 of Emma Boardman's incredible journey this week here on Leading Our Own Way. In part 1, if you missed it, please go back, but we witnessed Emma's bold leap from Dorset to Mallorca, her transition from performing arts to business, and the beautiful chaos of discovering who she really is. But that was just the beginning. Now, like I always say, it's a bit of a thing of mine, we're going to go a lot deeper. How do you navigate a childhood marked by volatile childhood is probably the best way to say it, and turn it into fuel for independence? What happens when you discover you're deaf in an industry that depends you hear every note? And how do you protect your energy in a world that constantly tries to drain it? Do you know that feeling? Do you know it? I'm sure you do. I think we all feel it at some point, right? Emma's, though, is about to share the practices, the philosophies, and the morning rituals that keep her grounded, inspired, and unapologetically herself. From the elevator pitch, I love that. What a alliteration being used there. I'm going to say that again. From the elevated elevator. Try that one. It's not as easy as it thinks. That pitch to creating communities that actually lift you up. This is where transformation meets practical magic. Let's dive right in with Emma and myself, but at part 2.
The one line that I told my dad, who I still speak to, and he's a sweet man, and he always said, "Just believe in yourself, kid. Just believe in yourself, kid." And probably is something that's kept me going, really.
Yeah.
But
Well, you
when
definitely
they
believe in yourself,
decided,
don't
it
you?
was shortly after the death of my friend, they were getting a divorce, and I was 11. I remember that because I came home from Brownies or Guides or something, and they stood me and my sister, who's 3 years younger, in the kitchen. And they said, "Mummy and Daddy are getting a divorce. Who would you like to live with?"
Oh.
And I looked at them both and I remember going, Daddy? And Daddy said, "I can't look after a little girl, darling." So I'm like,
Why did they ask you then?
"Mummy, then why did you give me a choice?"
Yeah.
Like, the dumbest thing. Can you imagine? I mean, I split up from the father of my son, and you just don't. So it makes me even more astonished at how shocking that situation was, having had your own child. And and obviously my mum's then pissed off. My little sister was like, "Mummy." So then I had my mum and my sister not thinking that much, I mean, of me, not choosing her. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I was about to say, I bet that must have been hard afterwards. She must have held some anger towards you because she knew. Yeah.
She was an angry woman anyway. So to have been, you didn't even choose me, you chose Dad. And who look, he couldn't take you. And I was like, "Oh, fuck, get me out of
Yeah.
there."
Oh my
So it
God.
was a lot of years of nonsense and hard, just making the most out of it, and self-surviving, self-healing, self-managing, self-emotionally regulating if as well as I could. So getting to 18 was like, ta-da!
So that's when you went to London then?
And I'm never coming home again.
So that's when you left Dorset and went to London, I take it?
Went to Performers College in Essex. So
Yeah.
that felt as close to London as I'd been. And it was good. We can get into London there for auditions and things. And it was a step in the right direction. So 3 years of tough training, but I was used to training. I liked it. It was my comfort zone to be pushed, and it's looking at yourself in a leotard all day in the studio. It was what I knew. So felt like a natural continuation because I could do gymnastics really well. I had a commercial agent even when I was at college, and I'd get sometimes called for the most incredible opportunities. And I remember one thing that I'm really upset didn't come off is I was shortlisted to be a Power Ranger. Can you imagine?
No way. I love that.
I'm
That's amazing.
devastated about that. I know that we now know that things that are supposed to happen will, and things that aren't are just not for you. But I still have so I want to bring Power Ranger energy.
Well, I think you have that for sure. Yeah. Are you allowed to say some of the big performers that you dance with?
Yeah. I should probably check in back to that. Do you remember Pulp?
Yeah.
So Jarvis did a song called Party Hard. And there's a pop video if you go to YouTube, and there's lots of blondie dancers dancing and little cheerleaders with very short skirts, and we've got dogs on our t-shirt. I'm in that one. I can send you. There's
I
some
will.
stuff on YouTube which I'd never even really seen in the day, and then it's like, oh gosh. So Pulp, Enigma. Do you remember Enigma? They used to make beautiful music. It's like
No, maybe I do. I don't know.
electronic, almost quite spiritual music, but with an amazing beat. Enigma did a video called Beyond the Invisible, and I'm a tree nymph in that one, and I'm singing rat-a-ta-ta in the trees. So it was random stuff, but midway through the commercial career, I got scouted to be in a band in Germany. So I was literally picked up and taken to Germany and popped down in Hamburg and thrown into a top 10 band who just had a big hit and needed a blonde and an Asian girl to make up the band. So we were suddenly pop stars.
No way.
Like get thrown into that world.
Crazy.
2 weeks in rehearsals, on tour. We were on tour with NSYNC when they got brought over from America for the first time. So, I think it was like the Eurotrash pop brigade of the time of the 90s. It was 96, 97. The names, I mean, I've got a photo of me with NSYNC when they were first in Europe. And
Justin Timberlake is my guy.
yes, when he was a baby.
I love Justin Timberlake.
Only 13, and his mum was on tour with him, and his mum was really cute. And
What's she called now?
That's what I mean. It's just way back. So there was those things. That was just real life. That was just what we were doing. It was just another job. It was my contract. It was just over a year. I was miming. I can't actually sing. So I was just being blonde and doing our thing. And I got a really good fan recall. So at the end of the contract, the record company, Warner Germany, called me in and said, sorry, Emma, this contract's now finished, but we'd like to offer you a solo deal as Emma because you've got great fan feedback. And I was like, oh, that's really kind, but I can't sing. And they were like, they thought I was being humble. They just get in the studio, we'll work on some stuff. And I was like, I really can't sing. I went to stage school for 3 years. They used to make me sing in the car park. There was like a little tiny room at the back of the car park. So no one coming in the studio could hear how bad we were. Because they'd have the good singers singing in the front studio. We were hidden out the back, being really bad, singing the same song for 3 years because we just can't sing. I'd go to bed dreaming that I would wake up with a voice. Like, please, please. They wanted me to do Ain't No Sunshine over a drum and bass remix, and that was the vibe. Poor producer, his wife had sung the demo, and she was beautiful in voice, but didn't have a look that they would have considered to give a contract to. And that's just tragic thing about this world. Yeah, you look great, but there's not a note to come out of you. So anyway, I did a week of shameful waking up like, I'm so sorry to the producer, who obviously has got this wife with an amazing voice who they're not. I said, why can't she do it? It just doesn't work like that. So they decided, fresh off the band, drop her in. I was like, after 4 or 5 very painful days in the studio, this poor guy, we sit back in front of the record company and he said, how's it gone? And the guy's trying to be, obviously we'd got a bit of a banter by then. The producer said, she's got great rhythm, but she can't sing. She was right. And they were like, we can't have I said, I can mime. And they said, we can't have a solo artist. No, not a mother, Millie Vanilli, who lives next door to us here in the next village, funnily enough. So it's the washed up era of the German pop stars in this valley.
That's hilarious.
So I got sent back to London with my tail between my legs of just like, oh, that was painful. I knew I can't do it. And anyway, that was, I went into TV presenting after that.
Yeah.
did that for a couple of years, or discovered how deaf I was. So I retired from that crazy industry altogether.
Let's just talk about the deaf moment for a moment, if that's okay. Um, just paint that picture around that moment when that became quite crystal clear, and because obviously you went through a lot. You mentioned at the beginning you went through a pretty tough time with that. How did that go for you?
You mean realizing the deafness?
Yeah,
So just imagine for a moment you're in a studio, a TV studio. There's cameras all around you, all pointing at you. The light comes on, and that's the one you need to look at. They put talk back in my ear, which is when they put an earpiece, and the director talks to you from the gallery, giving you countdowns and suggestions, and feeds in what they want you to say. It was the first time I'd had that, and interviewing someone in the studio, Ryan Giggs. And I can just, they're chatting away, and I'm kind of like, is this stuff I need to be listening to, or can I ignore it? And trying to talk to Ryan at the same time felt almost impossible. I felt so disorientated. The cameras, the lights, the flashing, and it felt like it was all, I felt like I must have had an internal panic attack, because I can just remember I can't do my job. Can you imagine how much you want that job? Because when you're in that world, everything is a step, and you think, this is my big break. This is my big break. This is it. We've made it. Once we've got this, and then everything's cool. So to be there realizing, yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, either you shut up so I can talk to this guy. But it was just too much. I got so overwhelmed by what I couldn't function. I don't know how I got to the end of it, honestly. I just remember, and it hurt as well, because it wasn't custom made to my ear. They'd shoved this thing in. It was giving me a really sore earache as well. And I just remember thinking, I'm here thinking I'm stepping into my dream career. Actually, I'm in a world of pain, and I can't do my job.
yeah.
That
Did
was
you ever?
humbling.
Did you ever
So
tell? Did you ever think about, like? Did you ever just tell them and see
yeah,
if there was
this is the
any?
stupid thing and the ridiculous thing. And one of the things I want to speak about now I'm back on the stage is that ridiculous shame that I felt, too embarrassed to say I can't hear, because you feel so silly and little in that world anyway when you're starting out, that you don't want to do or be any more awkward or any more difficult. You just want to be shifting into the shape that they want you to be to do the job for that particular thing. And the fact that I didn't feel confident to say I can't hear, but the thing is I hadn't admitted that I couldn't really hear, so I must have struggled for a long time, because when I went to the audiologist after that very embarrassing situation and I said I can't do my job, can you check my hearing, he said you have a 75% loss
Wow.
across both your ears. You need hearing aids. How have you got by this far? And I was like, oh, fuck. I've been winging it. God knows how much I've missed. And when they first gave them to me, the world sounded so loud.
Yeah, I bet.
So I've
I
lived
bet.
at 25% hearing, probably from being a kid, and not being unaware and overcompensating and being like probably so jumpy and so looking at people in the face because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah. It makes sense, doesn't it? When you did that sudden retirement from show business, then did anyone approach you and go, "Why on earth are you doing this? Why are you
No, I
stopping
didn't
this?"
tell people why. I just said, I'm retiring. I've had
Did they
enough.
ask? Did they ask and want you to stay?
Well, no, I mean, it's again, when it was weird because I had like these carrot opportunities kept dropping in. Like my agent would say, listen, are you sure? Are you really sure? You haven't even got started yet. So, but I was so adamant that I am not showing up in that world with hearing aids. I was so embarrassed about that. And
Yeah.
I used to wear my hair like, this is why this is a bold move that I'm now embracing it and letting people know rather than struggling through and then people just thinking you're rude.
Yeah.
People think you're rude or stupid, and actually the whole time, or a bimbo or scatty, deaf, actually really, really deaf. And it's probably even I'm due to go and checked up, but hopefully it's hanging in, but my husband's like, I think you need to check out again. So
So,
it's
so where?
interesting. Did they lure you back? Because he did kept going, well, this has just come in. They want a TV presenter for this new kids show, and it's just up your street. She wears dungarees. She's cartwheels around the bus station, and she's like this crazy lady who runs the bus station. I was like, 2 years ago, that would have sounded like a dream. But what I've just been through, that sounds like a nightmare. And it was one of those moments of, so I did have stuff come, this is right, they've requested you, they want to see you, they want to shortlist you for this. So I had to be really firm. And it's like when you're tested, life gives you the crossroads, doesn't it? It's like with the hunting opportunity, you can learn to shoot tomorrow, or you can step away from it and never step into that thing. And those decisions, I think, are really always very critical in which path we end up going down. So they were trying to lure me back, actually thinking about it. Because I can remember calling a friend saying, oh, this is coming in, and they like really want me, they really like me for this. And he's like, but is that going to just loop you back into this industry? And takes such strength to get up and leap into another world that you know nothing about.
Yeah, at 27 as well. Yeah,
exactly. And you realise I for some reason speak with a lot of 36-year-olds. It's quite a common age in my sister table. And I was like, oh, you're so young. And I think, my God, what I was doing so young, those big decisions, So I started an agency out of my good-looking, talented friends. And I called it Boardman Bookings, and it became massive. And that's where I became like a pioneer of guerrilla PR stunts, guerrilla marketing. I was working with all the ad agencies. I think my spectrum of performing turned into producing, and I've been on sets, I've been on movies. I was in the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie with Legionnaire that filmed in Morocco when I
wow.
was 21. That was my first job kind of out of college. So I'd seen a lot and done a lot. And to then take that production level into live events for corporate clients and luxury brands, that was a thing. And that was great until 2008 happened, and then nobody could be seen to be spending money on all our beautiful stuff. So that one went out with a bang. So it was like big and fabulous and in all the magazines, and then
So it folded.
I had to liquidate. I had no choice. We
Wow.
had huge overheads, big team, too many staff on the payroll. When the world just stops and goes, we really want to do this, but we're not allowed to be seen to be doing this right now. We had to show such austerity in 2008. So all the big banks, they couldn't do the sexy, fabulous things that we were creating for lovely big budgets. They had to do drinks in the boardroom because they had to be aligned with what they needed to show up as right then. So it was like this big, fabulous world is getting bigger and bigger and busier and busier, and then suddenly stopped. And because our overheads were large, I had 2 properties in central London at that point, which I'd bought. I had too many staff. I had a 3,000-piece costume company, which I bought off a guy who retired because I wanted to be able to furnish and costume our own events in this beautiful theatrical stuff. So it was full on, and it was a big organization within that I'd kind of created under that agency, production, costume hire, you name it. I've represented graffiti artists for. I have a graffiti thing that the graffiti thing follows me. Like, I love it. I even write my own kind of graffiti on my art. So
Oh, wow.
that's another story for another day. So to wrap that, that's when my boyfriend at the time decided, shall we get married and shall we have a baby? And I just went, he said, you don't need to worry about anything. Just support me with whatever I do. And I thought, that sounds kind. So I went into being a housewife for a bit, but I wasn't very good at that.
Yeah,
I wasn't a very good housewife.
I don't mean it to be horrible. You don't seem like you were such an ambitious person. It sounds for you to go to that really loud, busy life to this such a quiet, I'm going to stay at home. And
Can you imagine? I went crazy in Weybridge, and
I bet
we
you
went
did,
there to
yeah.
have a baby.
Yeah.
And I'm
What?
pushing like the buggy around. Was it when Luca was 6 months old? I said to my mum friends who came through the NCT group, is this it with like nursery rhymes? We got to sing these like for what, the next 5 years? I mean, they're a bit dry and outdated. This is just what we do. And I was like, oh, so I wrote my own. And that's what became Bambini Lingo, which I started when Luca was 6 months old. We got a nanny to come and live in the house, half Italian nanny, because my ex was half Italian, to bring the language in. And that's when I had an idea, baby language classes, where I write the curriculum, where I write new songs. And that's what Amazon ended up buying as an Amazon original
Yeah, amazing.
those years later.
Look at you thriving in an area that you think you would thrive, and then you go and sell it to Amazon.
But I
Crazy.
think I'm used to feeling like I'm in the shit, and I'm used to surviving.
Yeah.
So how can I make the most of me right now in this
Incredible.
suburban hell? I mean, suburban hell. We were living a beautiful ascetic life, a lovely big house, and everything was materialistically on point. But that's the piece which is, is that my talking clock?
I heard it, yeah.
Because I'm really bad at managing the time, so it has to talk to me. Otherwise, I don't know if I've been here for 5 hours or 2. Sorry.
I love it. You're hilarious. Oh my God.
So living the materialistic dream, starting a children's language empire just from the living room, because you can't put someone like me in a box or in a corner. It's just like,
no, I can sense that.
I'll make a sexy commercial box out of it. But I think that's why take away everything. So that went to closure after COVID, because we franchised the concept across Europe of that brand, and it just wasn't a viable business model. So my music is still available to buy on Amazon. So that drops in royalties.
Check that out.
I checked that. But funnily enough, I got kind of scouted by the producer, and I write for Sony as well. Sony have a kids brand called Sony Wonder, and I did the first 3 albums. They said, we're just regurgitating those nursery rhymes that you love so much, the same old wheels on the bus stuff. And on each album, they wanted 2 original songs, one at the top and one at the bottom, one at the tail. So for those 3 albums for Sony, I wrote the first and the last song. And it's nice to hear my original stuff. And they've been translated into lots of languages. So I've done my bit of putting a bit of freshness in. The most popular children's song I've written is the Fart Song.
You told me about this. This is
Farts
brilliant.
at the Farm. It's on YouTube. It had like over 1 million views in a very short space of time. I was like, I've made it.
Yes, you have. The Fart Song. My son would love that.
Viral Fart Song. But you know what? I thought again that this songwriting, shifting the children's worlds was going to be my thing, but it just didn't. It wasn't supposed to be the thing. And it's so many times in life when you think this is the thing. No, it's not the thing.
No,
this is the thing. No, it's not the thing. But then that thing that at that time becomes another layer of experience, another layer of wisdom, and another layer of perspective. So now I've done the thing. I finally done the thing at 51.
And the thing is?
Well, I wrote the philosophy for a new way of life, which is built and developed over 5 years of losing myself and finding her again. And I managed to turn myself up to A-class audacious. And I've managed to pull off some pretty mega shit in this space so far, and we haven't even started. And this is a philosophy I now share on stages around the world. I have management now. So it's like, it's so funny to be, finally, I'm not embarrassed to be deaf. Finally, I'm speaking from all of this mental life wisdom that I've pulled into my experience. I still haven't feel like I haven't started yet, but now I'm doing things very intentionally. I've just magically found the most beautiful team who've just come towards me like magnets. So I have a triangle of truth and trust where amazing women, she's like VA systems organizer. So I throw her concepts and she just juggles and sorts out and keeps it. And then we've got Val, who is just a super brain, super mind. And what's interesting is why this is all happening in real time, and it's all very new, this stuff to be even sharing, is Val asked me to teach her what I had learned myself, because she'd seen the progress over the 2 years that she knew me. She said, can you condense your process and teach me? So I recently taught her, and I elevated her through this process. It's like proof of concept that what, even on a one-on-one, it's really powerful stuff.
Could you, well, in that case, I mean, I know you can't do it into a big depth, but could you, if you could put it into like a bullet point form and help us, because I'm sure the listeners are wondering what that is. Could you, I mean, I know I'm maybe putting you on the spot. I should be paying you like £5,000 for this, but could you give us something then?
It's going to be a very expensive process, but what we're doing to make it accessible, because it's basically called Becoming, and it's becoming a super sister. Now, I'm obviously focusing on the females in my community, but I'm not just speaking to a female audience. I love speaking to boys as well. So
I'll take it.
It's a becoming journey, and I originally wrote it as a 12-week program, but we both work very closely with AI, and we both have a very good interrelational relationship, and helps us manage ourselves and regulate. Because I think, don't know if you noticed, the most brilliant people have had the dirtiest pasts. It's like, takes the
That's why I don't talk about my past. I'm joking.
I can see you've experienced a lot of adversity just by the way that you think, because it gives you that extreme to want to see it on the other side.
Absolutely.
You just cruise through in too much comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. There's
no polarity anywhere, is there?
Agreed.
So the work I kind of do is, we starts with like energetics. I've always been quite energy aware, but I didn't really have the words for it until I've met more and more people here. So after my wedding 2 years ago, I got really ill, like iller and iller and iller. And I was like, what? I've just had a great time. Why am I getting so ill? I went to see an acupuncturist, my acupuncturist, and she also does a lot of kind of Reiki healing, whatever she does. And she said, no wonder you're ill. You've got everybody's energy field in your field. Like, you've taken everybody home with you. What have you just done? I said, well, I got married. She's like, do you know how loaded people come to weddings with all of their stuff, all of their projections, all of their pain, fear, jealousy, whatever. And it reminds me, what you said is, have you gone on your journey of getting refined in how you're showing up in A-class Audacious? Have people dropped away? Hell yeah. Like,
I found that too, though, right?
Massively.
In this process.
Like, they get irritated by you because it just doesn't work. You have to leave them behind. And we've cleared away 75% of the people who were at our wedding 2 years ago, we don't speak to anymore.
Yeah, wow. So it's because you're going up and they don't have that same energy to carry on with you. So they kind of like that rocket philosophy, isn't it? I
remember
you've gone off.
Leaning into a friend who I quite used to like from the school run. And she's like, I can't handle your vibration right now. And I was like, ow. Ooh. But it was probably a really honest, most people wouldn't say that, would they? They would just get irritated and leave. And I thought, when you do start vibrating in a different way, and you can feel it in yourself, because you can feel the way you react to things that previously would have sent you over the edge or triggered you or slowed you down, and you can just see things. I feel like I've got like an eagle perspective on things. So yeah, things are happening, and there's things out of our control all the time, and people people doing peoply things that we don't have any control over, but how we respond to that. And when I feel like I've elevated, so yeah, I see you there doing your thing, and I'm not going to let that irritate me, because I can just see that's your own shit playing out.
Yeah.
And you don't actually have awareness of how this, when it comes back to A-class Audacious, it's like, I can see you're not operating in this spectrum. You're not operating in your ultimate self, because you're projecting, and you're. So yeah, I think I've gone off on a tangent.
No, bring us back to the what you were going to do with us then. You said you were going to share some of the part of
Yes, I was talking about this. So I'm in with Gudrun, my acupuncturist, and she's like, we're going to clean your field, darling, because you have taken everyone home from... She's like, you need to protect yourself. I'm like, but how? Nobody speaks about this in of the normal everyday conversation. How do you protect yourself? She's like, well, you need to consciously like draw a light around you. Some people say put an egg on, and it all sounded a bit bizarre, and I didn't really get it. Now, recently I was in Denmark at an exhibition talking to people all day long, doing my thing. And I went back to the hotel and it was like I got stuck on the ceiling. I was so overstimulated. I did not go close to sleep. You've ever been when you're just like in a hyper awake state all night, which is a nightmare when you've got to get up and do it again the next day.
Yeah.
And I got to breakfast and I was literally in tears going, I have not slept a single wink. It's like I was in hyper awake all night. And the lady who ran it was like a guest house in the countryside. She was also a Reiki master. And she said, I haven't got time to do a session with you, but wear this crystal. This will protect you. And then that happened. And then in London, I'd just done a really deep kind of one-on-one with a hypnotherapist. And her partner had said, before you step out into the streets, zip yourself up. And so I've had these three, someone saying, bring an egg around you, put a glowing light, zip yourself up. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I've experienced myself getting really ill by not protecting my energy field. I need to figure out a way to fix this for myself first. So one of the first things I do before any sessions with anybody that I work with is we need to protect ourselves. So this is the first time I did actually a live version at the sister table on Friday before we started the event. So it's called Zip Up and Glow. Clean energy in a dirty world. It's a ritual for energetic hygiene. You zip up your field, protect your signal, and glow from grounded power, not performance. So what we do is I get you to stand up and imagine there's a golden light glowing around your pelvic area. You're going to take one of your hands and you're going to zip up your golden zip all the way up your front. Zip yourself up to under your chin. And when you do that, you breathe in. And then that same hand, we're going to turn around, put on your forehead and beam that golden light out around you. And take a deep breath as you beam it out. We repeat it 3 times. So zip up, back to the base, zip up and glow. 3 times. One more time. Zip all the way up to the top and glow. And it completely changes the feeling in the space. And I now know how to protect myself. And I now remind myself that's the first thing I do before I leave the house, because I've got very ill and very, very exhausted by not doing this. And it's not really spoken about enough. The people that know, but no one had to explained it to me. And I've been asking, how? So I've made my own concept for protecting your own energy field. And that's the first thing I do with any event, any experience, or any one-to-one.
I like that. I've never seen that before.
Exactly. So that's my concept. Zip up and glow. You heard it here first.
Oh, I like it. Coming out on Leading Our Own Way. I love it.
So regarding what I do in the one-to-one process, it starts with the dropping in to yourself. And the first thing I do, obviously, there's something else I need to tell you, actually. Are you ready for another new concept? I don't think you can keep up with this today, but like I said...
we should have an episode on each concept.
there is, because this has been... I wrote the Audacious Way, then I put it into codes. There's 13 codes to the Audacious Way, which I'm dropping on Substack each week. Last week I dropped the first one.
I think I follow you on Substack.
I think we need to connect on there.
Yeah, I think I do.
I'm quite new over there.
Yeah, and I saw you pop up actually, and I followed you, and I noticed it was brand new. So,
So
yeah,
yes, I've just started that, and I keep forgetting about it because when you're like, oh gosh, I do Substack every Thursday. That's my new thing. That's
yeah,
the. It's all very well writing for myself forever and ever and ever. It's time to share this stuff. I don't need to create anymore. I just need to take what I've already created
mm,
and put it into formulas. So with this is what I'm now in the process of doing, pulling all of this wisdom that I have already written and packaging it into pieces and components of the audacious way, because it's a framework, it's a guidance for living in your most blissful state.
yeah.
So you get rid of the bullshit. We stop being bullshitting ourselves, and it really comes down to being true, like talking from truth.
Well, I'm just putting in the notes now. If you want to drop me your link to Substack, if anyone wants to follow I'll put it in the show notes to this episode. So I'm just making a note because I've already got emmaboardman.com. So,
I'd be very
emma-boardman.com. So if there's any other links you want, send them to me and I'll put them in the show notes as well.
Darling, I'd be very happy to have any followers over there, because you know what it's like when you start these
Yeah.
new platforms. You're a bit like, come on,
Is anybody out there? Well, that's why my trailer on my podcast, if you go to the top of Spotify, my trailer is hello, hello, is anyone out there?
Exactly. This is that feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is why it's beautiful to connect with you and meet your audience, and vice
Yeah.
versa, because I'll share this to my guys. The sister table are going to love you.
No, I love it.
So
Love it.
I think there was one other important thing that I wanted to tell you
Yeah,
today.
please. Because then I want to talk to you about your morning routines very briefly as well before we end the show.
My what?
Your morning routines. I want to
Oh,
talk about your
that.
morning routines
Yes, that works.
before we go to the three final questions.
So I think the reason I need to tell you, you said, what do I do in the one-on-one? And it's basically what I'm doing with the sister table. I'm creating a team of super sisters who have elevated to the level of clarity and vision and direction and A-class audacious, which I have been working on to get myself to. And I share this now in a condensed 5-week course with them. Now,
Mhm.
I always wanted to do something to disrupt the TED formula. I think for me, TED has been incredible, but I feel it's tired now. And I
TED as
wanted
in...
TEDx, the
Oh, yeah.
TEDx.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I've got a note here saying TEDx talk. So if there's another talk I should do, we'll do that.
And it's weird. It's like you feel like you haven't really made it until you've done a TEDx talk, because now I'm a TEDx speaker. So I've made it. And I
Yes.
just thought, do you know what? I don't think it's all that. And I went to see TEDx live in Ibiza 2 weeks ago to do my own research. And from a customer experience point of view, it was awful.
Was it?
Far too many talks. Like you're sitting there for the benefit of how good it looks to have an audience watching the talk, from being there in person all day, very short break for a really not very nice lunch that they give you in a little box, and then back in, you're not allowed to leave. I had
Oh,
such a headache at the end of the day, and I can't remember one talk, like, because it was just overwhelming. 12, 20-minute talks throughout, like 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. And I was just like, this doesn't feel right to me, because if you're really the sharers of wisdom, you want people to go home wearing and feeling the wisdom, not just with a headache because they've been overloaded. So I was like, how can I create something better with a better touch point, with a nicer audience experience? So I do a 1 minute talk, and it's called, what we're aiming for is the elevated elevator pitch. Because I think one of the things people struggle with most is introducing themselves quickly and clearly and hooking. So you want to know more. People are, I'm a chartered accountant and I've got 2 dogs and I live in Surrey. You're like, so I this is the thing that's the graduation process of my becoming course. You graduate on stage at the sister table live event as the guest speaker, doing your 1 minute, and then we follow it straight up with an audience conversation, a discussion.
love
So
that.
you do your 1 minute, you hook them in, and then it's about them. So it's then
Yes.
5 minutes of conversation, and this is what I wanted to take it to.
Can I come?
Include. Yes. I would love to have you, because boys and brothers are very invited to the sister table as support brothers.
Yeah.
So it's for the sisters. Only sisters are invited. It's a safe sister space. However, boys, brothers are invited to support, to do tech, to capture, to speak. We're happy to hear your messages, because I think we need more integration. And originally we were going to have the brother table as well, but we thought, no, we need the sister table. The women lead and the brothers support.
I'd love to support. I'd love to support, but I'd definitely love to speak as well. And I love
But
that question concept as well.
I
That
would
discussion.
love to have you on the stage. Get yourself back to Santa Ponza, darling, and we'll book you in to be the speaker.
Beautiful.
So the elevator pitch is, I'm just trying to explain it. So the concept around this is, I want to know where you've been, where you are, and where you're going in under a minute. That's
I
the
can
concept.
do that. Yeah, I like that.
So it gives you the heritage of the feeling of the understanding of what somebody's been through in a couple of words. Where you are now, that's the reality check, that's the truth. And this is the piece that I don't hear enough, is people are scared to throw their big dreams out there. I'm doing this and I would love to da 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 da. And I want to get the women in the sister table really confident at sharing their dream that is in their heart, like whatever it is. It's never going to become a reality if you can't speak about it. And we've made this a safe space where big dreams can be spoken out loud and received with applause, not eye rolls. Yeah. So that's the thing. Would you like to hear my elevator pitch while we're on it quickly?
Let's do it. Yeah. I'll have time. I'll have to think about mine, but I think I could rock it out for you. But not now. I'll have to do it another time.
I don't know if this is the final one, because it's all coming. All these concepts are coming together really quickly. But
yeah.
So I began as a gymnast and performer, trained to stand out, but conditioned to fit in. I learnt to read a room before I learnt to read myself. For years, I shapeshifted to belong in places that I never really fitted. And one day, I stopped performing for approval and started choosing the shape of my own becoming. That moment became the Audacious Way, a practice of truth over performance and presence over pressure. Today, I hold the sister table, spaces for women ready to meet themselves just as they are. And where I'm going? We've filmed everything we create. We've captured the process, the energy, and the becoming. I see a media house, a living archive of women returning to their power, directed and orchestrated through story, beauty, and truth. I want to bring a feeling of hope and imagination back into the world, because that, I believe, is what the world needs most right now.
Love it. That's amazing. That's incredible.
So you really like a micro story?
Yeah.
And obviously I can tidy that up, but that's the gist. And and I want them to film it in an elevator and encouraging women to be more truthful with the words that they're sharing, because only then can the people find you. It's only till I turned up my dial to being super honest and super truthful that we lose the people, but we find the right ones.
Love it. I love that. And then I can see then that great discussion around it. Such a much better format than the TEDx. I love it. You should make it big, and we'll get it. I'll support you in making it big as well.
It's going. I see it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I start with I've just trained Val, who's kind of my core team member, to do her super sister thing, and she spoke on Friday. I start this afternoon at 3:00 with an amazing woman who came for the first time to the sister table, and I said I want to do 3 sisters as the pilot to film the process. So they do one-on-ones with me, we film the Zoom calls, we film the in-person meetings, and then they graduate on the stage at the sister table, surrounded by support. And then from there, we go on to creating their iconic super brand. And we want to have, Sister Table will have an agency of our super sisters.
Love it.
You see, so that's throwing it out there. I can see it. I've seen it for a long time. It's starting to become a reality because the right people have showed up to help me make it happen.
Beautiful. Love it, Emma. That is absolutely amazing. I love that vision. And that, I suppose that's part of your future plans, isn't it? Because I always ask towards the end of the episode about your future plans. That is a great vision. And you're certainly neuroplasticity, right? You're making it happen. You're visualizing it and you're stepping in that direction to
I
pick up
learned
the
to
pieces.
visualize from 5 years old when I was a gymnast.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, well, you would have to
visualization
visualize the movement. I did it in
routines,
basketball
exactly.
too. Yeah.
Otherwise, how the hell are you going to land on your head, aren't you, darling? You
Yeah,
have to.
that's so true. So true. So okay then. F- I- I- you've answered one of my three final questions, but I do very quickly want to go over your morning routine because I think you would bring a lot of power to that. What if I was a fly on the wall, or if your husband was to sit here and tell me what you put yourself through in the morning, what do you do?
It's actually really not that exciting now. That point.
Sorry.
First thing I do is I get a cup of English breakfast tea because I'm
Oh, yes.
British and I have it super strong. So my tea comes first. But
Nice.
actually, before the tea, I do drink a massive glass of water with some probiotics because I like to think that sometimes a bit lemon in it. But I think the hydration part is all very critical. Then I go up
Yeah.
to my magic room. We're not filming up there today because sometimes the internet can be a bit dodgy. So I'm down in the main part of the house, the serious part. But one day I'll give you a peek inside the magic room. It's very special. So I go up to my magic room where I've got a beautiful like velvet chaise lounge. It's brown and I light my candle and I light my incense. I love a good like a candle for ritual. I'm very candly. For me, I think any piece of work or any session or anything you do, even with yourself, it's like you open a portal. So by opening my portal of creativity, of inspiration, inviting the muse to come and play, inviting the best ideas from everyone, light the candle, puts a hand cream on. See, like the very good hand cream. For arriving into yourself. So candle on, hand cream on, spritz incense, whatever I'm deciding. And I think it's just waking all of the senses up and being totally alone with myself. Then I have something called the flower of power, which is a rug, which is the shape of a flower. It would be something I'll probably do in my interiors range. The flower of power is where I just stand and feel totally connected to the earth and totally inspired by my visions. It's like I could open up a channel for inspiration, and I just sit and I write. So it's basically tea, candle, words. That's the thing. I do like to do some movement as well, like moving.
Yeah.
That happens normally later, and I come down and get on my mat and work out by the pool.
Beautiful.
But it's very gentle, and it can go from I can be there for 4 hours, I can be there for half an hour. But
Wow.
for me, it's just taking that sacred space to connect to me, regardless. I really try and not look at my phone. If I've got something that's exciting that I posted the day before, sometimes I just can't wait to see how it's actually doing. I'm sure you get like that as well.
I
Like,
do.
oh,
I do sometimes. Yeah, I don't do anything on social media anymore apart from the podcast stuff. But yeah, there's occasion I will look to see how something's doing for sure.
but it's fairly. I think the most important thing is to write,
Yeah.
to get the pen out. I've got an amazing pencil case of colours, and I have a very limited colour palette, and I use very beautiful pens. Do you know Dolce & Gabbana did a marker
Oh wow.
collaboration with Stabilo Boss?
Ah. Wow. Never seen
And I
that
think
before.
just elevating the little things that you use, and my work becomes art, my notes become art, my thoughts become art, and everything is just paying homage to yourself and your creativity and your beautifulness of you in this beautiful now. And there are a lot of possibilities for everybody right now.
For sure. We're definitely going through that creative generation at the moment.
I feel that we've been talking about it for a while with the paradigm is shifting. Old power is starting to look ugly. And if you see people still operating in that old space, it for some reason doesn't seem to be landing quite the same. Doesn't seem to have the power that it did. And actually coming home to ourselves and recognizing what our soul has been craving for us to do, turning off the noise, turning off the distractions, turn off Netflix. People just need to listen to themselves better.
Agreed. Well, on that note, then, I always ask about advice. If anyone can connect to the topics that we've covered today, can touch on your journey and relate to your journey in some shape or form, whether that's family related, whether that's parents, whether that's childhood, whether it's career choices, stuck in the grit of things and wanting to do what you did, do what I did, even move to the side of the world, even just to escape or to look for something better and not, live in their little village maybe. What piece of advice or wisdom can you share in that regard?
So being that you've given such a cross experience, or could be anyone, anywhere, who just feels like they're stuck. They would like more, but they can't imagine, well, I've got my job and my kid and my thing. And people get so trapped by these things that they put in front of them. And actually, it doesn't start by moving house, and it doesn't start by even selling the dog. I think that it really starts by becoming devoted to seeing yourself become closer to the most brilliant version that you know you're capable of, tapping into your potential. Because with how we can work with AI cleverly as humans today, this is what Val says in her AI studies, we haven't even begun to realize the human potential that is available to us. And I think for anybody doing anything anywhere, there's a lot of people who are dissatisfied by how life looks and feels at the moment, and they feel like they're trapped with their mortgage and their job, which they may or may not love. Just start tuning in and asking yourself, what am I here for? And what do I feel compelled to do in the world? And how can I start to take a little bit of time just for me, to take a space? You don't have to have a flower of power, but I think people need to start doing a bit of self-investigation. What do I really, 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 really want to do? If you just get a blank piece of paper, 20 things, if there's anything I could do, take all of the restrictions, all the limitations away, what would those things be? And when I did this, because Julia Cameron does a similar exercise in her book, The Artist's Way, I was like, film director, producer, keynote speaker, over 50s model, because why not? All this stuff. And it sounded artist, interior designer. And I started getting really cocky. But the thing is, we're scared to do this. We're scared to do the big dream spill. And I just say, start spilling your dreams out onto paper. Make art out of those dreams. Start bringing this stuff into your field, because there's opportunities everywhere. But most of us are too busy to see them.
Yeah. And as soon, like you say, as soon as you start planting that seed, whether it is a drawing or another shape or form, you actually subconsciously start to walk down that path, don't you? It's incredible.
You do. And then you start to see things that you wouldn't otherwise have seen, because you've woken up that little connection. And then the right people start talking to you about the thing you were thinking about yesterday, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I've noticed that just within the podcast. I've noticed it just within the podcast. You guys wouldn't have popped out of, in a way, sometimes have popped out of thin air. It's bizarre, it's crazy. I just had I've been doing a lot of reading around cells and the brain and the cancer and things over the last few years, illness, inflammation, and now I'm interviewing. You might have seen this week my guest who's out now, would be a few months ago by the time this goes out. Amelia Phillips, she's a dedicated science expert, and I'm going to be interviewing the author of this book here, who lives in England. She's an Aussie that live like a lobsters, about preventing, basically avoiding disease and talking about cancer and longevity. I'm interviewing her and all these neuroscientists. If you'd spoken to Andy White a year and a half ago and told him you're going to be speaking to people like yourself and all these other amazing experts in their field, I'd have laughed at you. But somehow I've got you guys and them on the podcast. What is going on?
Watch this
Insanity.
space, Stephen Bartlett. That's what I say.
Well, I've got his book, and somebody in my family, I probably can't say who, but somebody in my family actually worked together with him and helped him amalgamate his businesses together. So, yeah, I don't, with that in support, I don't actually have access to Stephen Bartlett, but I would love to. And it's funny, his number one episode, most listened to episode is, and I'm putting it out there into the universe because this is a goal of mine, is Dr. Tara Swart. Me and Tara have been talking on Instagram, like voice messages to each other. And I'm,
Love Tara.
oh, I do. I'm trying to get her on the podcast so hard. That is my
I think,
goal.
darling, this is the beautiful thing. Collaboration is way sexier than competition. And
I don't want to compete with anybody, by the way.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not saying that you want to compete, but this is the new energy of the new paradigm, is
Totally.
you and your thing, and we all have reach outside of each other's circles. We can't do it alone. And I just think what you're doing is beautiful. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure talking to you today. So thank you for inviting me for a chat.
So, Emma, I always ask about your purpose. It's very crystal clear, but like your 1 minute storytelling hook, I want you to just put into a powerful sentence of what your purpose is, please, if that's okay.
I think my purpose is to show up as myself and give other people the confidence that they can also show up fully as themselves as well. Because when we show up as our full self, we've made it. That when I think all the things I thought were the thing, showing up as your true self, speaking your true truth in a world where I live with no worries, no fear, no compromise. I finally found the peace I was craving my entire life. And it's just by living on my truth. And I think that's probably time to wrap it there and not over talk over the good point.
No, that's beautiful. And you know, it's weird that it's good that you brought the word authenticity up, because I was listening to Gary Brecker the other day. I don't know if you know who he is, a human physiologist. And he actually said about the definition of authenticity. It is when you're speaking the truth, but you believe it too. And I'm like, yes, that is perfect.
It's the congruence that is missing with a lot of people. There's a lot of people thinking they're speaking a truth.
Yeah.
Or they're living outside of the truth. Or are you living what you're preaching? And are you vice versa? I eat, sleep, live, breathe the audacious way. I have embodied this methodology that I've written to save myself from a life of being shapes that I didn't want to be for other people, so I can shift into the shapes that I want to be, that serve me the best. And that's what I want for other people, that we have a choice. You have agency over the shapes that you shift into. Yeah,
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's like when I wrote the book, How to Lead with Purpose, I did it based on how I was feeling at the moment around the toxic workplaces and bullying in the workplace. And I really want to help leaders understand their authentic self. But I've realized, obviously, with the learning, even with just this podcast interviewing people like yourself, you can't lead with purpose if you're not living with purpose first. And it mimics the whole...
This is the audacious way. Living an A-class audacious is such a basic concept, but it's self-awareness around how are you showing up. And then once you know you're showing up in your truth, then you can start to impact all the other areas of your life, how you lead, how you live, and how you love, and how you interact with your partners. Everything comes from where you sit. And it's a beautiful place, and it takes a lot of work, and it's not one's like you haven't hit A-class audacious. I'm in my sweet spot. Right, that's it now. No more work. It's a constant coming back, reminding years of being not audacious enough or oops, too audacious. I can swing on that dial. And as like you, we're stepping into a world where opportunities feel like they're opening up as we continue stepping braver and closer to our truth. And there's things you're like, I'm on a massive agency with like really major household names. And if you scroll for B and I'm like Boardman, Bono, and I felt at the moment slightly impostery on there, like, oh my God, because I'm new compared to these really established people who've proven themselves again and again. But I'm like, we just need to hold on because there's something there, and it's just moving through, like you said, that veil of the next layer and the next layer. And that's what growth feels like. You go from feeling like you're almost not too big for the small pond is not a good way, but it kind of can feel a little bit like where I want someone to stretch me, to grow me, to challenge me, to excite me, because no one around here is. And then when you get to a next level and you're suddenly like, oh my God, I feel like the new kid.
Yeah. Oh,
And then you find yourself in rooms and you're like, oh my God, it's a whole different level.
oh, you're speaking out of my mind. My mind saying that everything you've just said there. That's in my head. Yeah, I've had people who have been down the game further than me come up to me and go, "How amazing my work is!" You know, things like the reels that I create, and that, how do you do that? I'm like, oh God, I just use a phone app. That's it. I'm not good at this at all. I'm just learning constantly. You're way
Take
ahead
it
of
up
me.
as we go along, darling.
It's incredible. Emma, thank you for joining me on Leading Our Own Way. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad I stalked you on Instagram and found you and got you to come on. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me on my journey, because you are now officially a part of my journey, my community of Leading Our Own Way. And I hope we can spread this to your people and share some wisdom and hopefully change some lives as well. So thank you very much.
I can't wait to share it with the world, darling. Thank you for having me.
Me too, me too. Well, it's from Emma and myself over in Mallorca, here in Melbourne, Australia. Thanks for joining me on Leading Our Own Way once again. Make sure you have a great week. Make sure you come back next week for another amazing guest. But until then, have a great weekend and keep leading your own way. We'll see you then. Take care. Wow, I hate it. I absolutely hate it when we come to a week of a guest. I feel like I have a journey. We film for an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, and you know, we come to the end, but I spend the week with them when we publish it, you know, and then I spend days doing artwork with them, and it's sad when it does come to an end. And I experience that with my guests every week. If that's my stress, then it's not a bad stress to have to, is it really? But Emma's journey, what a journey. From chaos, family chaos that is, to entrepreneurial courage, from discovering deafness to discovering purpose. Emma Boardman has shown us this week what it means to truly lead your own way. Her story reminds us that adversity isn't the end of the road, it's often the beginning of something extraordinary. That protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's essential. And that authentic self-expression isn't just powerful, it's transformative. If Emma's story resonated with you though, please share it, leave a review, and most importantly, ask yourself, what would living audaciously look like for you? Hey, I said it okay. Until next time, keep leading your own way, have a great week, and make sure you come back next week for another amazing guest. Thanks for listening and watching Leading Our Own Way. So we can stay together forever and share more incredible journeys, please subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss next week's episode and what that amazing guest has to offer to the world. Please support Leading Our Own Way, and we'll get you on next week's episode.